Eh, Throwing something over there. Oh no, I'm knocking things over. This is not how I wanted to start. Um, Shit, where's my thing? Where is it? Oh, here it is. Boop, boop, boop. Jamaican Independence Day. Woo! I got my flag out. I had to dust it off a little bit, but I got my flag. Jamaican Independence Day. What? Yo, yo, yo. Big ups, all the things. all the teeth kissing sounds, all the sounds. Today is Jamaica's Independence Day. And that is one of the few Independence Days that I actually care about. I don't really care about the American one, but Jamaican one. Truly any nation that has set themselves free from English and or white control, big ups, man. Um All right. I am gonna try. Well, hey guys, hi. I'm gonna try to keep this short. I always say that it's never short. I don't think I know. I don't think I have shortness other than in height in my capacity in terms of like how long I can talk about things. But I'm also just trying. I've been doing a lot better in terms of my sciatica and back and stuff. But I'm also just trying not to sit a ton as still, and it's hard to do that and live stream or not sit and live stream. I'm not one of those types of people that like wants to live stream out and about and like have people know where I live and dox myself by accident. um there's already way too much information about all of us online, and especially me. Trying to hide my bra a little bit, be a little bit decent. Otherwise, the YouTube AI censors are going to be like, "Hey, you stop." Anyway, I don't know. I hope y'all are doing good. I know I was away for a bit. I planned to stream, but um without getting I guess too much into it, like I'm basically looking over my living space right now because my family went on a trip, and yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. It's a lot of early mornings, which I'm not a fan of. I've not been doing good with that, and I've been getting chewed out for that. But, I'm doing my best here as a night owl and somebody who has my circadian rhythm is foobar at this point, and it's always been kind of like janky, definitely kind of messed up, definitely broken. But my dog getting sick a couple weeks ago, and she's fine now. She's better now anyway, but like I literally had to spend a night pretty much awake dealing with her and help. And I mean, not when I say dealing with her, it's not like, oh my god, my dog's sick, how inconvenient, I hate her. It's obviously like I want to care for her, but it's also like I need to sleep. So um it was a lot, and I my sleep has been messed up since then, since most of July. And with me having to get up early and like also being a night owl and being like, no, late night is my freedom time, I want to be awake. It's not conducive to like being awake and like being able to get up and do things. I also like with all my chronic stuff going on, which is doing better, but still always a path that needs to be negotiated, always something that needs to be like, I have to basically wake up every day and see like how I'm feeling that day, like what is the vibe my body's giving. um so yeah, it's been a lot. I've been wanting to do the stream for a while, but I also have decided, and I posted about this on my Instagram, but I am not going to post ahead when I'm going, or like say like, oh, I'm gonna do it this day, because that's just, sorry, keep forgetting about that. That's just been setting me up for failure in terms of like I am trying to, do it and say like give myself I don't know if challenge, but the goal of like, okay, if I say it out loud and if I tell other people, they're gonna expect me to go live, so let me go live. But I just my spoon count has been low, extremely low, and I don't have I haven't had the mental wherewithal to like even talk about the things I want to talk about. But I like I said, I am feeling better. um I almost said I was going to go back to chiropractic. I've never done chiropractic. I don't even know how to pronounce it. It doesn't matter. I don't want to do that because the guy who came up with it basically got it from a dream he had about a doctor who died like years before, or like that. I think he knew the doctor, but he had a dream about him, and the doctor in the dream, the dead doctor in his dream, was like, "Psst, do chiropractic, become a chiropractor, and like create that whole thing." And it's not based on like actual medical science. Like I know there are some chiropractors that utilize I don't know why I can't think of the word, but like they use PT exercises, which are based on the musculoskeletal system and like knowledge of the body anatomy and stuff like that. They'll utilize that as part of it, and they actually like balance the chiropractor with like the actual science and medical knowledge. But like chiropractors are not medically doctors. There's less involved to get that license, and I can't be having people mess with my bones like that. My bones are already janky. I already got issues. Like my sciatic issue is because of a herniated disc. It's which is dealt with, but clearly I still get the sciatica since that. And I already got issues with my body. I don't need more. Like I don't need anything else going on. That the chat is full right now. The chat is full. Even if this one is not, the chat is full in terms of comorbidities and body issue stuff, or like body health stuff. So like we're at capacity, we good, and I don't need any more. But yeah, what I was trying to say is I tried acupuncture. That was a whole rant to be like, I tried acupuncture, not chiropractors. But I do believe and have like experienced now the benefit of acupuncture, and I'm going to look into doing like maybe a couple of sessions if my insurance will cover it, um, and see how that helps. But thus far, it's been very helpful. Anyway, I'm rambling, and I said I wanted this to be somewhat short and sweet, although I've never been able to make anything short and sweet in my life except my height and my personality. So we'll see. Um, anyway, I got topics to talk about this year. I was about to say year. Oh God, if I were doing topics by year, whew, a whole textbook for this year. It's not even done yet, and it would still be at least like two textbooks, the big ones too. But I got a couple of topics that I want to talk about. I'm gonna be semi smooth. I've battled with myself when I say smooth, semi. I want to go through them as quickly as I can, and concisely as I can. Part of me is like I want to do a timer for each thing, or like each topic, so that like I'm only giving myself a certain amount of time to discuss it, and like once it goes off, it goes off. But I also know myself, and I feel like I would ignore it and keep going. Like people during debates when they're like, "All right, your time's done," and they just keep going. It's like, bro, you've been talking for an extra 30 minutes, seconds after your time is done. Like you gotta shut up, man. You gotta stop. But anyway, to get into my topics, one of my first topics, which is a little bit more lighthearted, less serious, is the influencers that have ruined New York. And basically, also as a side note, how we've created our own panopticon prison, which like I don't even know. Like I'm so tired. I'm brain has a billion tabs open. I don't even know if I can get into explaining what a panopticon is. Usually when I bring up a term, a theme, an idea, whatever, a concept, I try to explain it because I've held on to the idea of if you can explain something to a 5 year old or like explain to somebody as if they were five, that's a good way to like know how much you actually know about that. Because I don't know if any of you have ever experienced any, all zero of you right now, have ever experienced like saying a word and someone's like, oh, like I don't know what that word means, and you're like in that moment trying to explain, like you know the definition but you can't put the words together of like what it means, and you're like, ooh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to like the words are hard, words are hard. um so that happens sometimes, and like that stumps me when I'm like, I want to be able to like define something for someone, but I do feel like explaining to something that I don't know what that was. I don't even have stuttering as an issue really, or like ticks or anything. Like I don't know. I don't know what that was, but we're in weird times and I'm gonna just fucking roll with it. Anyway, panopticons. In the shortest sentence and the simplest explanation, it's this idea. I think it was it Michael Foucault or Foucault? I don't. He's French. I don't know how to do French pronunciations. I think. I mean, I think he's French. I don't know. I definitely don't know how to do French pronunciations. I always mess it up because French is weird. And anyway, it was basically the idea of this like prison that has a like tower that would be the panopticon, and it's like a tower in which the prisoners are always basically, there's no angle in the prison in which the prisoners can't be seen in their prison cages. They're not cages, but the cells, whatever. Cages is crazy. Cages is crazy dehumanization, um but yeah, it's the idea of like you're being constantly watched and there's nowhere, no angle that you can hide from this panopticon building, and also the idea of you don't know when the guards in the panopticon are watching. Like they could be watching all the time 24/7, or they could be like there could be no one in the tower but you wouldn't be able to know because of how it's designed. I don't know if it would have like two-way mirrors or something like that, some shit like that, but that was the idea of it. And the panopticon is always brought up in terms of media because like obviously with things being filmed and cameras and stuff like that, and like this was, I don't even remember when the panopticon, like I learned all this in media studies, I don't even remember when this like came about, other than it's like at least 50 plus years ago at this point, I think, um more or less. And but just the idea of Big Brother, we always talk about Big Brother 1984, and the idea of just constantly being under surveillance, and just in terms of the TikTok of it, what, oh no, my cat got stuck and like got scared and like tried to pull a pillow. She got free though. She's okay. It was just so funny to watch her like in the upper peripheral like jump and then like panic and be like, my claw's stuck. I was like afraid I was gonna have to get up and help her. But anyway, panopticons. But the idea that like they were talking about this in the 50s, 60s, whatever, like way, way, way old times, a long time ago, and we are living in the age of the panopticon, especially with influencers. Like, I literally experienced, I don't know if this person was an influencer, like, I was too busy trying to like evade the cameras, and they weren't even like aimed at me, but in my neighborhood, I think I was walking with my dog, and um there were like events happening in the neighborhood. I feel like this was maybe closer to the 4th of July. So like Actually no, it was a couple weeks later, but there was like a big event happening in the neighborhood, and then I was walking my dog, that event's going on, and I see like one of those kind of fancy looking, like they're not quite limos, but they're like driver vans or cars. I don't it was kind of an SUV, but it looked almost like a limo SUV, not quite, but like it was like clearly for someone who'd like had the money to book it, right? It wasn't just like an Uber. Or maybe it was and it was just like super fancy. Point aside, there was one of those cars on the side of the block that I was walking up with my dog, and I noticed, like, I saw the car and I noticed people standing around it, and like somebody had um it wasn't a tripod, it was like kind of the handheld iPhone stick, but like, and they had lights and everything, and it was somebody filming like themselves talking on the corner, and like I don't know if it was a skit, I don't know if it was just like them I truly don't know what the situation was, but all I know was I saw the camera and I was like, I don't want to be seen and I don't want to be in the background of this. I want no parts, because I was just trying to walk my dog and I didn't like it also goes back to like why I think Gen Z and probably Gen Alpha feel like they can't do anything in public or can't enjoy anything, because everything is considered cringe. If you're having a blast out in public, somebody might film you and like put you in a subreddit where they're making fun of you, or like post your whatever you doing whatever and be like, this shit's cringe as fuck. This guy's cooked, and it's like under we're not only under the security system surveillance of like the flock cameras of them all, and like all the other technology and AI stuff that is being used to monitor us, but we're also like we're filming ourselves. And like I know I get the irony of like you're on a live stream, you're filming yourself, blah blah blah, but like there's some semblance of like, this is my choice, I'm choosing to go live. I can talk about, like I mentioned, you can probably deduce the state I live in based on either past streams or things I've said, but you don't know exactly where I am in the world, and who I'm with, where geopoint exactly where I am, and everything else about me. And that's the way things should be. Like we deserve privacy, and even if you're a public figure, you do deserve some sense of privacy. um but like, especially, I feel like with public figures, it's at least like, okay, if you see a public figure, pick your choice, like out in public, they're out in public, like they're a public figure, they're supposed to be out in public, that's fine. And like more often than not, like especially if you're talking about celebrities, it's kind of ridiculous for a celebrity to be like, no, don't film me out in public. If you're out in public, like there's a way that celebrities and like rich people move around without being seen, by the pores, and there's a way to do that, and so that you're not like, you have less eyes on you. It's secret elevators, secret entrances, blah blah blah, heliports, whatever the fuck it is. But there are ways to get around that. But what scares me is that increasingly, as private figures, there are not ways to like keep your privacy hit like to yourself. Like, even just the fact that I mean, I don't know, I can't say this is in every single city, but like the fact that you can't just like walk down a city block without like being surveilled by, it's probably more than even 5 cameras. Like I can't walk a block in my city, whether it is a like more residential area or like a more commercial area. Like there's nowhere that I can walk where I wouldn't be recorded or like surveilled in some way, at least 5 different times in 5 different ways from 5 different angles. Probably at least more, a lot more than I'd even. I mean, I don't even want to be surveilled by one person, one camera. So it's a lot more than that, and it's just the idea of like our information, our faces, our everything are just constantly being scanned, and or utilized for AI, especially on TikTok, like all those filters, all those trends that people are doing. Say it this way, say it like that. That is training AI. That is being used to like do whatever, and it's probably not good. So, you know, I talk about this a little later, and I'm gonna move on, but we all like y'all need to get off TikTok. It's not good. And like I knew from the minute it like died and came back, I knew it was gonna be like it's back, but it's not what it was, and it's like changed. If it brought something back with it, they died, but something else came back, type of horror movie type shit. But I knew that like from whenever that happened years ago. I guess it was like what 2 years ago now, 3 maybe, I don't know. Time's a flat circle. But either way, like it wasn't the same, and I especially in terms of the ownership aspect. And I knew like I didn't even know enough about Oracle yet, but I knew like based on where this is heading, like oddly enough, I trusted TikTok in China's hands way more than I did in doing our government's hands or Oracle's hands, because at least China, like, yeah, they may like utilize the technology for something anti-American or like blah blah blah. I'm not in China right now. Like, I'm not saying it wouldn't. I'm not saying that like it wouldn't affect me or be used in a bad way that I should protest and be angry about. But I feel like at least the Chinese government, is they're like open about like the scrutiny and the surveillance. Like, yeah, we're watching you. Don't fuck about. But like the American government and like how surveillance is done here, it's like we're not watching you, but we totally are. But we're not watching you, and we're totally not watching you. Like, and I honestly prefer the Chinese version than whatever they did with TikTok here. We did with TikTok here. It's not them, it's us. Anyway, gonna move on. Get some water. This is more of a dark topic. It does get a little darker as I go on, but whatever. It's dark times. I don't know what you want me to say or do. Like I'd love to hide it from you. I'd love to spare us all from it, but this is what we're dealing with. So things are my next bullet point. Literally, things are getting worse. And like we need to prepare for that, because like we can't even eat veggies, like fresh veggies anymore in this country. I heard there's a recall. Excuse me, of I think it's jalapenos. I think it's like the like canned or the ones. Sorry, the ones in vinegar. They found like E. coli or I think it was salmonella in those, and those are being recalled from Chipotle and I think Cadobo, Cadoba. I don't know which one. All right, but yeah, like this is only it's only gonna get a lot worse. And I know a lot of people, especially on TikTok and on social media, are like, "Yeah, we can just all like make our own gardens and grow our own stuff," and and it's like, well, yes and no. Like gardening and knowing what you're doing and being able to like produce food to live off of actually takes a lot of effort and energy, which is why farming is not just a cutesy like trad wife instagrammable life. Like farming is a fuck ton of work. Like there's so much work that you have to do from before the sun is even up to like way after the sun goes down. There's so much work, there's so many hands involved. And even if you do have a farm and like all the animals and can grow, you're still reliant on the supply chain for shit. Cuz like if you have farm animals, how are you feeding those farm animals? Even if you're growing stuff on your farm, like you're probably not producing enough to feed, like even if you have, I don't know. I don't know how, like, look, I don't know about farming, clearly. But, like, even if you have a relatively small farm of, like, I don't know, 3 cows, 5 pigs, 10 whatever the fucking numbers are, you're not going to be able to run that on your own self sustainably without needing any outside contact or help or whatever, neighbors, doctors, vets, etc. Even like in as far as farming, like people really underestimate how much of like the ground, the land is not like has to be pre-treated or dealt with before you can even start farming. Like some plots of land are barren as fuck, and like no matter what you do, you're not going to be able to grow anything there, except like maybe the hardiest like weeds and plants that like survive anything. So I love the idea of being like, yes, community gardens, and yes, absolutely community gardens and whatnot. But like realistically, y'all would have needed to start to like be working on that from like January, maybe even like December last year. And it's not, especially on an individual level, you're not going to be able to produce enough to make your own food and consume your own food without needing outside sources. And additionally, like I I like holistic and all natural, blah blah blah, all that stuff. I'm like, I like to say I'm woo, because I'm not woo woo. Like, I'm not fully into that shit. Like, there's some stuff where I'm like, all right, well, you need to get vaccines, and lavender isn't a cure all for everything, right? But I also understand, like, the pharmaceutical company and, like, like, I don't know, the big drug, whatever, I urge to just take anything that they throw at you in terms of prescriptions or medications that are available. Like, yeah, I don't think that's good either. Like, if you have a serious issue, um, a lot of the times taking prescriptions or other, like, even OTC stuff can, like, affect other parts of your body. There's always a cause and effect. And, like, a lot of the times it seems like when you take certain medications, like they affect other parts of your body eventually, or even you can be taking something long term and it's fine, and then one day your body's just like, you know what, I don't like this shit anymore, and you have an allergic reaction. I watched that happen with my father. So medicine is weird, and I understand some hesitancy or like mild distrust of doctors, the medical system, the healthcare system, especially as it exists currently, because it's just clearly for profit and not about actual health. It's about them building their wealth, or like the CEOs building their wealth and whatnot. But at the same time, like, I'd love to be like, yeah, we should all grow our own gardens and like make our own compost, and you know start canning, start making things from home, make your own jam. But also, like, again, the reality of things like that, if you don't know what you're doing, especially with something like canning, I can't even say I've really canned. I'm not a canner in that sense of like I know everything I'm doing. I'm a master at it. I barely would say I have some basic competence in terms of like making jams and preservatives, and making any sort of, I don't know, preserved food that can like be, that will be safe to eat for the long term. Pickled anything, fermented anything. Like, I don't even know that I can make kimchi, like the Korean stuff, on my own in my kitchen. And like truly, like I have most of those tools. Like I have most of the things that I would need for that. have to get the produce aspect, but it's the idea of like if you are not certain and like on top of your shit, cleaning everything, doing everything by the letter, and dotting every I, you can, like with canning, you can literally create botulism if you do it wrong and poison yourself or other people. And that is my hesitance in terms of being like, hey, everybody just go back to, because just like the TikToks, I'm going back to TikTok a lot, but like the TikTok says, you can't eat at everybody's house. You can't eat at everybody's house. Oh, you can't eat at everybody's house. Like some places, like there's some people, no. Like I know these trad wives, these like natural, all naturals, everything good people that I'm not eating their, like if they gave me some pickled whatever, canned whatever, I don't want it. I don't want it cuz like I know like the environment was not clean enough or up to my level of sterile for you to be doing that. Especially those of you that like just have your pets or cats like on the counter, like near your food. I have a cat. Obviously, you've probably seen her in one of the live streams. So I understand that like to a certain extent, you can't keep a cat from doing something. Like if a cat wants to get on your counter, they gonna do it. It may not be in front of you, but they gonna do it. And you can't necessarily keep cats out of things. I get that, but also I don't want to see a cat or cat hair on your counter if I'm in your living space and going to eat in your living space. Like I don't want to see that. I don't want to see your cat anywhere near where the food is, or where clean conditions need to be happening, because like again, I love cats, but also they're not exactly sterile. Nothing is, like nothing living is sterile naturally, so I kind of like, I don't want that. So the point of that, wrapping things up, is just basically to say like, yes, we like there is a good idea in terms of like community gardens and togetherness and like leaning on each other, especially when we're coming into a difficult time. The thing I would like to like maybe shift more people towards instead of just being like community gardening, because like also if everybody's doing community gardening, like yeah, that may handle the food aspect, but like there's other aspects of how food is made and like distributed, whatever, eaten, that for example, if you have all the food but you have no spices, now what? So the point I want to make is like, yes, community gardening or gardening on your own or whatever, but also having items of value or need or whatever, wants even, to be able to trade within your communities, and neighborhood is probably the more important thing to focus on for the long term. Like, because even if you buy all the canned goods, even if you buy all the toilet paper, whatever, there's gonna be inevitably something you forget. Like the most prepared person in the world, even if you've got a checklist, even if you check it twice, you're gonna forget something, because humans, we're all forgetful. We all focus on the things that like are most important, and you may have a need in like a time of trouble where like you don't have the thing. Like maybe you have all the food, the produce, whatever, the canned goods, but you don't have any medicine. But maybe your neighbor next door who's like, older relatives passed away and they have their medications in the cabinet. Like maybe they have something that you can work with or use, and then like you can trade them your produce for their medicine and back vice versa. Or gasoline for a generator and water, like we're going to have to. And I've always felt like we fucked up in terms of, as a society, leaving bartering behind, because like bartering is like been used pretty much from the beginning, and it is a great way to like get around, like if you don't have money, if you're poor or broke, but you still have skills, there's still things you can do or make or fix or whatever, then like you still get fed and can take care of the community and be cared for in return. So like that is the aspect I think we should focus more on. It's not about stockpiling. It's not about like making sure every all your ducks are in line in case of the worst apocalyptic scenario. It's about making sure you have things of value to trade or that your neighbors might need or that you might need even. But like also having things that people can utilize, even if you can't. So that's one thing I want to kind of put out there in terms of preparing, especially in terms of food supply for things to get worse. Also, like if you have all the food but you don't have a means to like prepare it, it's all going to go bad. So I really want to encourage, especially as things get if things get bad. I'm hoping for the best, but also realistically aware of what could happen in the worst case. So let me get some more water. Yeah, like I think, you know, hope for the best, prepare for the worst, but also don't focus on being like the one with all the supplies. Like having things to trade, whether it's money or goods or valuables or services, I think is going to be the most important way to like for us to support ourselves and our community and help each other in the future. So I want to put that idea out there of trade, exchange, mutual exchanges, mutual aid, even. What a concept. Um, I mean, if you are thinking about these things, you should already be part of a mutual aid group in your local area or start connecting to those people or searching them out because, again, I think it's going to be really important for what comes next. Anyway, switching topics. This one is going to be a difficult topic, and it's going to be a bit of a tightrope to balance because I have a lot of thoughts about it, and it's also sensitive because it's a person that I don't know, and there's a lot of parasocial conversations going on around this person. Sorry, I gotta adjust. Sciatica is so fun, but at least I've almost fully defeated it. So hopefully this is the last round. So anyway, the elephant in the room, the skinny elephant in the room, is Ariana Grande. Again, I'm not a fan. I'm not a stan. I don't stand very much, even in terms of music I like. There's plenty of music I like or I've liked where, the creator is problematic or at best or like actually a fucking nightmare at worst. But so I don't really like I'm very tangentially like distanced from like her world. Even with the whole Wicked tour, I was like I wanted to see Wicked and I still do like the show, the Broadway show. I'd also maybe want to see the movie. I don't know. I don't know where I am with that, but it was just too much going on, and I was like, I can't watch this right now. The discourse is driving me insane, and how some of y'all was treating. I mean, hopefully none of you in this immediate community, but the way some people were treating Cynthia Erivo, I really didn't appreciate that. You know, seeing a dark skinned black woman be treated that way, and I don't even really like her that much as like I don't know anything about her. Like I know she's in Wicked. I know she's done other stuff before. I know she does a thing, which is crazy for me to try to imitate in a live stream. Oh my god, I'm sure that sounded like absolute ass. But I know that's very important. That's key. I also know that like when they were doing touring for Wicked, they both did look very skinny, and as somebody who is plus sized and like definitely I'm okay with calling myself fat, but I also know a lot of people in the world use fat in a negative way, and I don't think fat is a negative or positive thing. It's a neutral thing. It just is. Like we all have fat on our bodies. That's how it should be. And that's kind of why I want to be careful with this, because I know there's been a lot of pushback of like, don't talk about people's bodies and whatnot. But I want to compare and contrast like how people are treating Ariana in this situation and like talking about her, whether that is being concerned or or like shaming people who are being concerned, verbally concerned. And it's like, look, I know there's a million different sizes, there's a million different body types, and I would say in general it's not good. Sorry, I gotta adjust. It's not good to like put judgments on people's bodies, whether they're bigger than you think they should be or smaller than they think they should be. You don't know what that person's going on with. Like one of the things that's also come up in the discussion is like the Chadwick situation, where people were, making jokes and laughing at him and like being like, oh, it's District King. Oh, he looked crazy right now. Like, and we now know why, like what that situation was, and we lost him. And like I wasn't part of, like I saw when that was happening and I was like, y'all are fucked up for that, ahead of the curve, ahead of before the great realization of like, oh, that was bad. That was bad. Like I was like, yeah, that was bad. I knew it was bad in the moment. I was like, y'all suck for this. But this is also why I'm not on Twitter. But you know, it is a situation of like, if you don't know someone's situation or health, medical, anything, you don't know what they're going through, whether they seem fat or skinny. Like they could be going through cancer, they could be recovering from an eating disorder, and you shaming them for putting on weight makes them like, it's triggering. But like it's very much disingenuous for people to be like, you know don't body shame, especially for fat people, but then you can't comment on someone getting so thin that you can see their bones. Like, again, I know there's different body types. I know some people are naturally skinny. They can eat, like, they can mukbang to the end of the world and they will not put on an ounce of weight. And, the joke would be like, oh, I hate those people. But, like, I don't live that life, so I'm not gonna hate someone for how their body works. Like, just like I don't want someone to hate me for how my body works. So, but it is also like, I don't think it's normal for anyone, whether you are very petite and small or not, to see your bone structure. Like, especially like in this area or in your face or like in your arms. Like, I don't. That's not. That's not. Ooh, that's not. But like that doesn't feel healthy to me. And again, healthy is a spectrum, right? Because the other aspect that I want to bring up, hang on, yapping makes me thirsty, so I gotta hydrate or die straight. Um, but the other aspect is like, this comes on the back of, for me, because like again, I don't know her, I don't know any of these people, but for me, like I saw a new primary care doctor that I was assigned because insurance is a goddamn nightmare in this country. And I was hopeful, and like one of my friends was like, you should probably just go to this queer um center, that they'll be really, they'll be more oriented to your healthcare. And I feel bad about it now, but I kind of brushed them off, like being like, oh, that's a lot of work, I just want to stay with this person, see how she is, and then go from there. And so I met with this doctor, and it was a 15, it was like a follow-up. It wasn't actually like a checkup session or anything. It was for a different issue. And within like 5 minutes of me, like the appointment was 15 minutes long. Within 5 minutes of her walking into the room and me telling her, like, hey, I'm here for my sciatica issues, she immediately was like, oh, well, weight can sometimes affect sciatica. Have you thought about the GL1P shot? And like getting ready to write a prescription for it. And I was like, oh, no, that's I'm not interested in that actually. Keep that. I didn't say this to her, but I was like, keep that far the fuck away from me, because the Zempic face and like whatever else happens, the effects of it, I'd rather be fat. I'd rather be fat. Like, I'm so sorry. And again, this is not to body shame. This is not to like make fun of people, but like the Kelly Osbourne face of it all, the Sharon Osbourne face of it all, like the fact that people's faces and their bodies have changed so drastically that they look unwell after taking this or continue to take this. Oh no, thank you. I don't have the issue with an issue with an ED in the sense of I do not have a diagnosed ED. I've never been diagnosed with that. But I do have disordered eating and disordered thought patterns around food. I have had that, and I've had to work very hard to overcome that. And also to understand that, like, what my body needs in terms of like foods and exercises and stuff. Like, the only reason why my arms, not on the side, but tattoos, the only reason why my arms are the guns they are at this point is because I've been doing push-ups for the last year and a half actually now, to like help with my shoulder stability because I had an impingement in my shoulders from bartending, the worst theater in the world. And like I needed to do those push-ups to help build the strength of like the area around my shoulders, but also like as I've been doing those push-ups, I've been doing exercises for my sciatica and other stuff, been walking more, and like physically I'm in a better place in terms of my mental health, my physical health, all those things that I have been in my entire life. Now, if you look at just the cover of the book, you might still be like, "Oh, they're fat." Like, "Oh, they need to work on that, eat more salads." Like, I'm not trying to be blasting my ass like that with salads, with infected cyclospora salads. I am still eating greens. Obviously, it's still important to eat your greens, but like not in this economy. I already dealt with the not rhinovirus. That's a cold, but I already dealt with the norovirus in 2025. 0 out of 10, actually -10 out of 10. Definitely do not recommend. Avoid that shit if you can, because it is not fun. It is awful. Like the worst illness I think I've ever had thus far. Knock on wood. But yeah, I listen, I was saying I've struggled with disordered eating and other stuff, and at this point in my life I am the healthiest, but visibly, like clearly to that doctor, she was like, "Oh, you must want to lose weight. You're so fat and gross." And it's like, well, we really need to look at like body weight in a more holistic way, because like I even learned recently there are types of fatness, or there's types of fat bodies that, like, yes, there's fat, there's more adipose tissue, which is the like medical or scientific term for fat. There's more fat tissue on the person, but like you also have to look at their muscle, I don't know why I forgot the term, but like their muscle structure is like. If they have way more fat than muscle, like, okay, yeah, there may be a problem. But if there's a decent amount of muscle under the fat, like muscle also weighs more than fat. So like, you know, you gotta look at these stuff individually. Also, fat people, not fat people, skinny people, Converse. A lot of the times when people are too thin, you're actually at a higher risk of being pre-diabetic and like getting diabetes when you're too thin, because you don't have enough fat on your body. And I forgot, like, I'm not scientific enough to explain it, especially in a live stream, but like it fucks up with how your pancreas processes the sugar and like insulin in your body. So like you actually damage yourself more by being underweight than by being overweight. Now, I'm not saying that being overweight is the bee's knees and there's absolutely no issues with it. There's no history of problems, blah, blah, blah. Like, obviously, there are. It can be a problem for the body depending on the person to carry too much weight. It's like with animals. Like, fat people can be fine, but like for an animal, it's not good, especially if you are the owner in control of how much they eat and like or treats or whatnot. It's not good for like a cat to be overweight or like a dog to be overweight because that does negatively impact their quality of life. And that does happen to an extent with people, but also like people are not animals. We like people are moving around more than animals do, especially like domesticated animals. Obviously, situational depends on. I feel a sneeze coming on. Depends on the animal or the person, the mammal. But and I'm gonna wrap it up in a bit. Because the thing is with the doctor, like that wasn't even the end of the conversation. She then offered or like asked if I was curious about bariatric surgery, which I'm like, it's even more of a crazy thing to like offer. I know you don't have to be like crazy morbidly obese to get bariatric surgery. I've seen people who like get it and they're like they don't even seem like qualified like or like they should qualify for the weight loss, but it's just a small amount. I don't want to do any surgeries unless like I absolutely have to. Like, obviously heart surgery, brain surgery, blah blah blah. Like if you have to do those things, like if in the worst case scenario you find a malignant tumor or something like that, yeah, you may have to do the surgery. And it's like you don't want to have to do it, but it is also like to save your life. So I understand like I can't be like, no, sir. I'm not going to be like those religious people who are like, no medicine, no surgery, because God doesn't will it. Like, no, if my only option is dying or like having a shitty quality of life and then having a surgery done by a professional, like, I'm going to go with the surgery. I don't want to have to do elective surgeries. So, like, even for me, I have a large bust to keep it YouTube friendly. And I've considered reductions, but I also like heard about the recovery time and like you have to have all these drainage situations going up, and I just that just seems like a lot of work and a lot of risk for, and like any surgery is risky, even eye surgery is risky, any type of surgery there's a certain amount of risk. But I like if I can avoid being put under anesthesia and being like worked on, edited, if you will, um, I feel like it's best to kind of avoid that if you can, right? Like just why put yourself through that trauma unless it's like again something to save your life and there isn't a better alternative, like sure. So it's wild to me that she was like, oh, GL1P, you'll definitely, or GLP1, whatever the fuck it is, you'll definitely like want to be part of that, you want to take that. And then when I was like no, she didn't take the hint of being like, all right, maybe I should, you know, hear what my patient has to say. Maybe they're okay with where they are weight wise and like they don't need my input in that way. And she just kept pushing. And it's like it's crazy to me that like if I came in the way Ariana looks now, my doctor probably wouldn't be like, oh, you're scarily thin. She would probably, until like you do the tests or whatever, maybe then she would have been like, oh, yeah, your iron's low, this is the, all that stuff. But like the idea that I could be starving and like eating in a really disordered way and not taking care of my body, and if I walked into that doctor's office and I was underweight, she probably wouldn't, maybe even mark it in her notes, because like thinness and skinniness and even extreme skinniness is seen as the goal, is seen as the desire. And just also the fascist and sexist control of women. Like, cuz like if you're hungry, if you're starving yourself and you're trying to fit this image of perfection that has never been attained in like for long term and is actually really damaging, like if you're hungry, you can't think and you can't process and you can't like you certainly can't think for yourself. Like you're just gonna be, on standby mode essentially, mentally. And if you're smaller, you're also easily kidnappable. You're also easily to take away and put away somewhere. So it feels very much like with the fascist trends of everything we're seeing, whether it's enshittification, TikTokification, thinness, Ozempic, everything. Like that is all part of the fascist machine to keep us dumb, compliant, and unable to fight back. And so I'm gonna move on. Um uh, Soonish. I will say like also, it's one thing if like for Chadwick's situation, it's one thing if people instead of like choosing meanness and cruelty. One second, my throat's dry. Let me clear my throat. Um, but it's one thing if like when Chadwick was going through what he was going through, if people are like, oh, I hope he's okay, or he looks like he's going through something, I'm wishing him well, I'm praying for safety and health, whatever it is. Like, if people had framed it in the less of like a mocking, like, look at this guy, look at this like crazy sick looking loser, instead of framing it like that, if people had led with concern and care, would that have changed the outcome, or at least like his his outlook on where he was? Like, maybe it would have given him more of a spark to fight and live, not live. Obviously he didn't choose to die. I'm not trying to say that, let me be very clear. But maybe it would have made his passing easier on him and his family. Like, I'm sure he was in his last days carrying those thoughts of people mocking him and like probably feeling some type of way about it. And maybe if people had expressed more care and kindness and been like, I hope he's okay, things would have been better for him, or that would have been a less painful outcome for him and us. But I also think like, yeah, maybe some of the people commenting on Ariana, instead of being like, oh my god, like saying don't lead with cruelty, is the point. Like, instead of being like, she's so thin, it's scary, or she looks like she's dead, whatever people are saying. I'm not trying to put words in people's mouths, but instead of being like, Ari, as a fan, I just want the best for you, whatever that is, and blah blah blah, whatever version of that could be. But it's interesting to me that like when it comes to thinness or someone being too thin, people people are more kind and more just like, hey girl, whereas if somebody is overweight or perceived to be overweight, it's just like, you're killing yourself and I won't let you do that. If I don't say something, I'm letting you do that, I'm enabling. And it's like, well, no, that's well, no, so anyway, I'm gonna move on and try to wrap up because I'm at an hour, and also I want like to get up and move. Excuse me. Okay, rapid fire. I'm not gonna get too into this because I also like, I don't really follow this creator and this person. Not a fan of his content or his brother's content or anything they do really. But I'm not trying to say that in a hateful way. I am actually trying to have this discourse and make this point of, so the Hank Green AI elephant in the room where he was caught utilizing AI, I think for the script of his video, because again, I don't really watch his content. Sorry, I gotta adjust for comfort reasons. But yeah, the idea that if someone like Hank Green can get sucked into using and justifying AI, and like he was using it in uh not his dialogue, I guess his script, and the way it was figured out or caught was because um he he left a prompt in, and so and he read it out loud, and it was something like, to push back on your point or something like that, and he didn't catch it, which also tells me that he didn't read whatever AI threw up for him and spat out, which is kind of crazy. Let me make sure someone's not calling me. Okay, no. I thought I heard someone call me because I'm deaf, obviously. I don't know if that's actually that obvious, but I think I've mentioned it before. And sometimes I hear things because I think like someone's calling me and they're not, because there's other sounds going on. Or sometimes I won't hear, most of the time I won't hear someone call me and they're like really trying to get my attention and I'm locked in, or I just don't hear them. So anyway, what scares me about the Hank Green thing, I won't even get into like me being kind of like never really liking him or his brother's content and being like, I don't, I don't like the vibe. The vibe's off. I'm gonna leave that aside to, avoid any accusations of pettiness. But what it does say to me, my opinions of him aside, the fact that like he got sucked into using AI, and he explained in his like, I don't know if it's like really an apology video, but he explained in his video, he was like, yeah, there was a lot of workload, and I was using it kind of to help, um you know find new sources, to look up and or to utilize and include and blah blah blah, which I also feel like is dangerous. Like that's just as dangerous to me, Hank. It's not me using the first name like I know him, but like that is just as dangerous to me as generating a script, because like AI makes up shit all the time, and like the shit that it makes up that we are aware of, like when it was like, oh, you can put a little bit of glue in pizza, like obviously every most people are gonna catch that and be like, okay, I'm not putting glue in my pizza, AI, you dumbass. But like the things that are more subtle, and the things that like you would only really know if you're a professional or like you're in that field, like I don't know. If AI came out with a summary about the panopticon, sorry, and it described it as um a digital device that can look into everyone, like the original concept as a digital device, like I would know that's wrong, because the original concept wasn't necessarily a digital device. It was just more, it was more analog, if anything, because of the time it existed in. It just can apply to digital now because that's where we are, that's where we live with now. But it's like, if you are someone who's never heard of the Panopticon, never heard of Michael Foucault or Foucault, I don't know how to pronounce it. I still don't, and I don't care. Um, if you don't know about that, you may not understand, like, oh, what the AI is telling me is correct, and is the answer is actually like a partial truth or not the full thing. But you won't know that unless you have that, if you know that knowledge. And on that note, like I watched another video from like a short from a creator who talks about AI content and like spotting it and whatnot. And one of the things that like actually sent a little chill down my spine a little bit, like ooh, the tinglies, like seaweed wrapping its leg, its tendrils around your leg in the ocean. You're like, oh, not the seaweed, it's seaweed. Oh, not me ripping off Henry from last podcast on the left, but his ad read. But anyway, like, so we all, the concept of that video was that the idea that, okay, we all can point out the obvious AI. Like I saw an obvious AI clip in a compilation where a Labrador or a golden retriever, I don't remember which one, like picks up there's a little chihuahua barking and it's like doing that the thing that chihuahuas do that are they're so famous for. And it's like the Labrador got annoyed, and there was like they were by a pool, so it just like picked up the chihuahua and like tossed it in, but it did it in a way that's totally like readably not natural. The chihuahua fell in an odd way that was just very like anti-gravity, or like it, it was weird. It was just obviously visually distinctually or distinctive as not real as AI, and I caught it. The thing is, and what that video brings up is, what about the AI that you don't catch? What about the AI that you see and you don't immediately clock as AI? Because like you've only ever clocked the AI that's really obvious, right? Or like doing something that's very impossible. But you don't clock the AI that's more subtle and like more believable. And that was really scary because like I would like to think, oh, I don't watch, I actively try to avoid AI content and like not interested, block that shit, all of that. But that doesn't mean it's not getting through and I don't know it. Like it absolutely could be, and probably is. And that was like what was really scary, because like if you don't know what you're consuming and you're consuming it, you won't be, it's like the whole, if a fish is wet, or does a fish know it's wet? If you don't know that you're swimming in a lake or a body of water of AI, how do you know to recognize it? How do you even know what you're recognizing is 100% of what you're seeing, or like that amount of the content that you're seeing? So I say all this to say, the Hank Green situation, I mean, my opinions aside about him as a person or like his content, blah, 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 I think it's really scary that, like, I don't know his credentials. I don't know about him that much. But the impression I get is that, like, he has degrees, or at least is very scientifically like in that world and knowledgeable about that. And if he got suckered into being like, I need to keep constantly posting, I need to put stuff out there, and I have to like utilize AI to meet these demands, then we're all fucked, because like most people are happily lapping up. I shouldn't say most. It seems like most of the people that even liked AI in the beginning have shifted their point of view and find it annoying and hate it and avoid it. But there are enough people out there who are just like the clankers, or whatever. They're really about it. And even celebrities, there's so many celebrities just utilizing AI to look younger, or show their younger selves, or look better, or whatever. And it's just like, girl, we don't have the water for this. Like we are running out. We are at capacity and we're running low on water. Like we can't, if you're gonna use AI and it's gonna use this much water, it better be solving cancer, and it better actually be fixing the whole climate change issue. And if it's not, I don't care what image or whatever generative bullshit you come up with. It's not good enough. It's not worth it. I'm so sorry. Like, I hate to be that killjoy, but like, stop using AI. It is literally making us more stupid and like fucking up everything and destroying our world. And the data centers are like, beyond the pollution, it's fucking with animals, because there's a droning, like a constant droning sound, and it like makes animals freak out. And it's just like, what are we doing? What are we doing for inaccurate information that's not even like double checked or fact based, or like at all like double checked? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So I'm gonna move on. um in a similar but different note, I wanted to bring up, well, first of all, your bunkers will not save you, billionaires. We know that you're like doing all these secret bunkers and being like, oh, we're gonna hide out from the poor, they won't catch us here. Okay, yeah, sure, you have a bunker in a mountain underground 500 feet, but like, what happens if your vent gets blocked? What happens if there's a leak? What happens if your bunker is not like set to like deal with the ramifications of climate change and there's earthquakes? You're not safe in your bunkers. And they won't save you. Time's up, buddy. Buddy. I combined brother and buddy. That's crazy. But yeah, time's up, buddy. And either you fork over that money, and like, look, we won't ask for all of it. We'll leave you with some, but you gonna have to give us the bulk of it because you ain't doing shit with it, but being weird and creepy and secretive and possibly P3DO um inclined. But it's also like, if you don't want us to, like, as things get worse, like, the poors, the little people are going to come after you. If you think that, like, whoever you hire in your staff, if you think you can survive without the people who do the bulk of, like, making your existence smooth and easy, I mean, good luck, buddy. So, you can run in your bunkers. I look forward to the day earthquakes and whatever happen. The billionaires are trying to stop me. They're making me cough with nanobots. No. Infowars. Which is actually great now that Tim Heidecker is involved with it in the Onion. So, love that. But love that for us. But your time is up, billionaires. So, fork over the money or die. Like, those are the options. We can do this the bloodless way. I'd prefer the bloodless way. You just contribute your part and help fix things, and you get to live. That seems like a fair trade to me, but what do I know? Anyway, on that note, malicious compliance needs to be more utilized by employees of rich people and people in general. Like, I understand, like, you can't just be, like, obviously malicious because you will be fired, and, like, that's not good. But you know, if your bosses and your supervisors, politicians, etc., if they are not valuing your labor and paying you your worth, you should be giving them less. Give them less effort, time, service. You should decline services if you can. And the goal is to be subtle. Again, you don't want to lose your jobs. You want to lean on reasonable doubt where it's like, okay, that could have been something maliciously done, but, like, also I've known this person for so long who's worked at this job. I don't think they're like that. So you want to, like, balance on the line of plausible deniability, right? But I just, like, part of attacking the rich class is attacking, or not attacking, is convincing the people that they rely on to not help them and not work for them. And I know that's hard because most of us, we all work for someone who has more power than us. That's how it's always worked. But they also depend on our work and labor and us burning ourselves at both ends to keep them going. And I think if things are really going to change, and if we're going to talk about, like, really actively, effectively changing things for the better, we have to start refusing, and or if we're going to comply, maliciously comply, and get creative with it and spiteful. Like, if we have any hope of changing things, we have to be creative and spiteful, for what we are about to do. May the Lord make us truly spiteful. Oh, Angel Spit. That era of Angel Spit was. Um, but yeah, like, if we have any hope of changing things, we have to start confronting the things that are getting in the way of that change. And I know that's not easy. That's easier said than done, but it has to be done at the end of the day. Because otherwise we are going down with the ship, and I don't want to go where that's going. I see where it's headed, and what it's doing to the rest of the people on the ship. And I can't go down like that. I can't go. I don't make me go. Like, I gotta fight, and I hope y'all feel that way if you're watching. Uh, Oh, I didn't even see chats. Thanks for the chats. So, oh, I'm missing a chat from some text from someone. Let me answer that real quick. Uh, uh, am I free? Yeah. I'm like million thoughts going on at a million times. All right. Also, no, it's cool. Um, I'm sorry. I like I had my notes over the chat because I did not like think anyone was gonna be there. I knew that was gonna screw me over one day because I'd be like not see the chats. Um, all right. You know, you just gotta roll with it. I will be wrapping up here anyway. We have to confront the system and the people in power. That's the main bullet point. I'm gonna finish up with the Perez Hilton thing. I haven't seen the video that was going on of him self harming. I don't know what's going on with that. I've not followed that guy really since like the early thousands, and even then, like once I realized how misogynistic and weird he was, I was like, I'm good. I'm so good. Yeah, it and like I don't even really want to talk about this a lot because like I don't want to send views over to that video or have people like apparently it's really awful and I just don't want like I don't want that in my head. Make them eat boneless rice. Boneless rice is crazy actually. Like that is actually crazy. But agreed. Yes, we should make the rich eat boneless rice. um anyway, so yeah, like Perez Hilton, like, listen, I will say I feel bad for his mom and his kids. I'm glad they were not at the house where that was happening. Because to summarize without giving too much away and being too whatever trigger warning he was on a live stream basically self harming or shing and like I guess eventually the police were called and he was arrested. He's okay or he was in the hospital. I don't know what was going on, what that situation was. I don't I like I said, I haven't kept up with the man. I will say it's interesting that, you know, he's like or his reps were like, you know, please give him his privacy. And it's like, nuh-uh. You're getting the same amount of privacy that you gave celebrity women, both young and old, in the thousands, buddy. Cause like I remember that. I'm old enough to have remembered what you were like back then. And it was not it. And this still probably isn't it. I'm not wishing harm on him. Uh Obviously what happened is fucked up and I don't like I don't support that even if you're someone I don't like, but also you deserve what you put out there and you know if you don't get the privacy that you're asking for like I wouldn't be surprised and I wouldn't be upset about it either because you've done a lot of people dirty anyway. Also on that note, again, I'm begging y'all. I am literally begging y'all leave TikTok because the fact that so there's so many black and brown creators or queer creators or pro pro pal creators if you get my drift who get silenced, who get their content taken down within minutes of posting, who are shadow banned, who are blacklisted, who get their accounts banned um in minutes of posting something that the algorithm and the TikTok gods don't like. But then this video, get this live stream of a man shing is left up there for 30 minutes, and people are watching the stream and reporting it. What's crazy is they were all reporting it like, hey, get this shit down, this is fucked up, you got to do something. And it took TikTok like 30 minutes to even like flag it, get it down. And it's already spread, it's already, you can watch the video still. And it's just like, what is the point of all this? Like, you can't say the R word in terms of SA, you have to like say grape, ooh, grape, SA, which like SA I have less of an issue with, because like it is a term and it is a way to like censor with also giving enough information about what it is. But I hate like using the word grape, I hate using the word unalive, I all of that shit does nothing to actually protect children when that kind of content is on, and worse, is on TikTok. So like, what are we doing here? America explain, like, America explain. Um anyway, definitely wrapping up because I'm fucking tired and a bit hungry. And forgetting to read the comments again. TikTok is running rampant with stupidity. It is wild. It's wild that they allow. Yeah, they truly do. Like, even it's not even just sexual content. Like, yes, there are OF creators or whatever on. I don't have an issue with that. Like, just don't, like, your demographic shouldn't be, or your content shouldn't be aimed towards children, right? Aim it towards the adults, the right people in that demographic. But the fact that like you can find all types of fucked up shit on TikTok, but let somebody say they're pro pal, let somebody say, boycott is not Ral. Let someone say America is a fascist dictatorship, and counts banned. Silence. Were you silenced or silenced? Were you silent or silenced? What are we doing? This is not actually protecting children or anybody, and it's actually like making it worse in a lot of ways. So again, what are we doing here? If the point is to protect children, save the children, all the things, and you're not actually saving the children, you're actually like harming the children more. What are we doing? Why are we doing this? Delete your TikToks, please. I beg. I sincerely beg. Anyway, finishing up, my throat is dry. That's a crazy thing to say on live. Throat dry. Dry throat is crazy. But anyway, I want to end with something good, especially because this is like crazy long, almost an hour and 30 minutes, and I'm not really in pain. So that's hey, that deserves some knocks. Something good I want to give to leave off with. My birthday is coming up. It's next week. Honestly, I feel mixed about it. It's not even about getting older. I don't care about getting older. I look forward to getting older. I hope I'm old as fuck. I hope I'm the coolest old person that has ever olded on this planet when I get there. I don't fear getting old or like not being young anymore. Like, honestly, it's kind of been lit not to be young anymore, or as young. I'm still young relatively, in terms of like middle age and whatnot. But I'm not afraid of getting old anymore. I never thought I was going to live long enough to get old. This old, to even see third, like in my 30s, like I am. So I'm looking forward to that like aspect. But in terms of birthdays, like birthday parties have been kind of mixed for me. It feels like it's never what I like want in terms of like the amount of people able to go. It's my birthday's a summer birthday, so a lot of people are away on trips, can't celebrate with me. So it's I've become a bit jaded about trying to like make my birthday a whole party thing, and like, or like the birthday week thing. Like, it feels dumb, it feels forced, and I just want to have a good time. Like, I just want to be chill and celebrated by my friends and loved ones. And Yeah, I don't need to go clubbing. I don't need to like do the most expensive. I'm also so broke. Every year of my birthday I've been like more and more broke than the year previously, so it's just literally like I don't have the money to be like going hitting up a nightclub and dancing and drinking. Like drinks in the city are so goddamn expensive for what? And I'm a bartender, like I can make this shit at home. So, it's like why? I just want a cheap thrills, cheap fun time with friends and loved ones, and to feel loved and cared for, and like my birthday is special until those 24 hours are up. But I am trying to get like hype about it and like being like I'm another year older. I got another ring in my tree. And also if you I don't expect this, but if anyone does want to send me like a birthday cash app, birthday Venmo, or support for the show or anything, I will add my Venmo in the description, but it's ELLED 98, so LD 98, on Venmo and on Cash App. If you want, don't bankrupt yourself to send me a birthday wish or whatever. Like, please don't. That will make me so sad, actually. But if you have and you want to donate, that is my Venmo, that is my Zelle, and Cash App, and not Zelle. That's my Cash App. I, I'm not giving my Zelle. That's a little too familiar on a platform with people that may be watching that I don't know. But and my last something good, I was able to sell something that I was given by a now ex friend. It's a crystal ball, and like when they first gave it to me, I was like, "Oh, this is cool. It's not really part of my practice, but it does look spooky and cool." But then I learned about the whole thing where if you don't cover a crystal ball and it's like indirect sunlight, it can like start a fire or burn your house down or like burn whatever. And it just became like a whole anxiety thing of like I got to keep this thing covered, and so I never really ended up using it. And I was like, I this is collecting dust and making me feel anxious. I was able to sell it on marketplace, and I was able to give it a queer home with somebody who was buying it for their girlfriend's birthday. And like it felt awesome to be able to like gift this to a queer person. Like I know I didn't specifically pick them out to get it. They messaged me, and like I didn't know their whole situation. I didn't know they were getting for their girlfriend, but it was just like yes, queer love wins. I love that I was able to pass it on to a queer person, and that their girlfriend is like going to gift them, and like I was able to do that and give that to them. And also like again with the trading and mutual aid of it all, like they were able to give me money that I very much needed and wanted, and I was able to give them something that they could give to their partner. And you know just the community of that, the community building, and like the shared, like you need something, I need something, here we go. And that's really beautiful. So those are my good things for this episode. Thank you for staying this long. Special shout out to Angel Symphony 383 because you're the only one in my chats right now, but I appreciate it. And yeah, I'll let you know like the minute before I go live when I go live. I can't be trying to do this ahead of time and be like, oh, I'm gonna do it on like Monday or Thursday, and like I'm gonna be sporadic with it because that is how I am, and I'm not good with consistency. I'd like to get better. I'm trying, but I think this is the only way that'll actually work. Um, it is the BF duty, but I appreciate it either way. Um, anyway, oh yeah, and Jamaican independence, boop boop boop, boop boop boop, like pon the river, pon the bank, pon the river, pon the bank. I had to. I'm sorry. Um, Not me trying to do my best, Sean Paul, Sean Paul impression. But yeah, Jamaican Independence Day. Thank you for being here. If you're watching the VOD later, thank you for watching that. Really, really appreciate that. I'm gonna hold this up again for screenshot purposes and or thumbnail purposes. Yes. Anyway, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'm getting some food. Thank you for joining me. See you in the next one. You gonna find out when the next one is like a minute before I do, or like a minute after I do. I don't know. Make sense of that. Until then. Oh, Tish, hi. You're saying hi. Walking through. Hey, baby. Yeah. Oh, it's very cute of you. Thank you. Appreciate it. um, Morticia. Void sends love, and yeah, I'm gonna get the fuck up out of here. Eat something. I'm tired and hungry. All right, y'all. All right, yeah. Deuces or whatever. Get out of here. Scatter. Scramble. Scram. Go on. Get out of here. All right, bye.